It's time to party, people, because I'm speaking to the chief party dude from the Party People, who sell a party supply every 9 seconds.
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show, where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reid.
And welcome back, listeners, to another episode of Australia's #1 marketing show. I'm your host, Timbo Reid, occasionally on helium. You, however, not on helium, are a motivated business owner. You're ready to crank out some great marketing to build that business of yours into the empire it deserves to be. And that is exactly what we do around here. It's exactly why you tune in. If it's your first time, stick with us. We have a bit of fun, but we educate along the way. That is the intersection that I have found. Education and entertainment in marketing. If you are old to the show, welcome back. Thanks for returning and giving me your trust. What are you thinking? Hey, big show today. I have a chat with Australia's #1 party supplies retailer, owner of the Party People, Dean Salakas, who shares his top 3 critical marketing success factors. And they are absolute rippers and ones that you will be able to implement immediately. Plus, I have got a motivational marketing quote from the year 450 BC. I wonder who that could be from. Hey, the show lovingly brought to you by the good folk at Net Registry, who get your online marketing sorted. So be sure to check out their exclusive listener packages over at netregistry.com.au/Timbo, including a $79 a month do-it-for-me website package, which includes hosting and domain names, design, development, everything. Hey, and 99 Designs also make this show possible, I should say, who they'll give you a design you love. No matter what piece of marketing you need designed, head over to 99designs.com/Timbo and you'll get a free $99 upgrade to your brief, which means many more designers will respond to whatever it is you want designed. Hey, as per usual, there is marketing, GOLD, dripping from the ceiling over here at Small Business Big Marketing's HQ. So let's get stuck right in.
Do you need a speaker for your next conference? Recommend Timbo to your event organiser. Or better still, book him. Tim Reid, that's reid.com.au.
Righto, team. Let's get stuck into today's guest immediately. Why not? We can cover the rest of the things after the interview, which is absolute ripper. His name is Dean Salakas. He is the owner of the Party People. It is a third-generation family business in which grandpa works in it, mum and dad work in it. Dean's brother co-owns it. A fascinating dynamic, which we talk about early on in the interview. It's an online offline business. They've got 2 retail outlets plus an online store. How's this for some stats? Sells 15,000 products. Serviced 545,000 parties. He has sold in excess of 4.6 million party supplies, and he takes an order every 9 seconds. That's nuts. We cover the ups and downs of a family business. We talk about his Shark Tank experience, which was kind of interesting, what he learned from that. That will be my 3rd Shark Tank guest. And, as I said, 3 critical marketing success factors that he applies in his business with some success, I must say. I started off by asking Dean what he'd like to be known for.
You know, I guess my title's a chief party dude, so I like to be known as, the guy that brought parties alive and
Right.
It was a lot of fun.
Have you all got wacky titles in at the Party People?
Yeah, everyone does, actually. It was the whole idea of the chief party dude, actually. It was just being a bit of fun one day. I came up with it, put it on my card, and then, a few of us in the company actually went along with it as well, and then we kind of made it almost mandatory for everyone to come up with a wacky title for themselves.
That's really interesting, because I had a guest on recently who owns a beer. He's a beer retailer, online and offline, sells 1,100 craft beers. And to me, we had a bit of a debate on the show. Like, I think that's an interesting business which deserves an interesting personality in the way they talk about it in their copy, in their videos, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And yet they kind of weren't doing that. So the party people, you guys live the whole party brand, the whole party, what you would expect. Is that right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we love it. We go out a lot. I mean, I'm 33, but I still go out and get on it, you know.
Can you claim everything you do as a tax deduction?
Oh, you know what? There's some funny stories there. We don't have all day, but there's definitely some funny stories.
Well, give me your best.
You know, I was single once, and I was out partying, and you know, girl would say, oh, "What do you do for work?" And I'd say, "This is what I do," you know. And she'd be like, "Oh, all right, you want to be an arsehole? Piss off," you know. And I was like, "No, seriously." And I gave her my card, and you know, I got a number after that. It was pretty funny.
What did you say? I mean, owning a party business is not that unusual.
I said, "This is what I do. I party," and she's like, "Yeah."
Gotcha.
You know? She's like, "Yeah, whatever," you know.
I'm testing the product.
That's it.
Hey?
I mean, I've been out and I've seen girls on heads nights, and I've said, you know, "Where'd you get your stuff from?" And they've said, you know, I mean, I've probably been a bit lucky because it's just to buy them from. But I said, "Oh, where do you get your stuff from? You know, where'd you get these things from?" And they said, "Oh, I got it from the party people." I'm like, "That's pretty cool." She's like, why would you ask a silly question like that?" "Oh, I work there."
Yeah, because I'm the party person.
Yeah, I didn't give it away, actually. I didn't say I own the company, but I work there, you know.
Are you the wacky guy that sucks in the helium in the balloon?
No, we're not allowed to do that. It's actually, you can possibly die from that. So we have
come on. You're giving me that. This is the OH&S stuff. Like the world's,
It is.
Let's relax a bit. Hey, now in 1985, I understand that Patches the Clown gave birth to the party people. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so my mum had a few friends had a friend that was a clown, a couple of them, but they needed some help one day and asked her to come along and do the clowning thing, and so she did, and it became a permanent job for her after that.
Is she a fun mum?
She is, yeah.
Right.
I mean, they know how to party. I mean, I'm almost embarrassed with myself sometimes because my parents party harder than I do, you know.
Love it. Because, like Stephen King didn't do clowns any favours with the book It, so, like, I'm just hoping she's kind of on the side of funny versus evil.
Yeah, no, not the side of evil. But you know, sometimes, I mean, my friends come over. I feel like sometimes they prefer to hang out with my parents than me, you know.
Fair enough. So what's interesting, I mean, great, and I understand, like, it's a 3-generation business because granddad's in there, and it's just a good Greek family business, really, isn't it? You know, it was either going to be the fish and chip shop or the party people.
Yeah.
You've gone down that path. You and your brother bought the business off Patches the Clown a few years ago. How was that? Was that a weird negotiation? Not because she's a clown, but just because she's your mum.
No, well, yeah, it was a bit weird because she was my mum. I mean, we actually it was all done quite properly. Like, I mean, we had our separate lawyer involved, and they had their separate lawyer. Obviously, they're my parents, so it wasn't so much adversarial. It was very collaborative, if you like. But you know, we had to represent ourselves, and they represent themselves, and we sat down, worked it out, and. I mean, it all sort of came out pretty well. I mean, the way it actually worked, they actually had a buyer prior to us, you know, deciding we wanted to buy it. So basically, that was the minimum they were prepared to accept.
Yeah, right. Is it a weird dynamic though? Like, I haven't interviewed a lot of family business owners, and I just always wonder, like, what's that dynamic like? I mean, you'd have to have such open communication, and you know. No grudges, you'd have to be completely transparent and, you know, because it could end in tears.
There's probably a couple of parts to that. I guess the early days of it, when we first took over, was very, very tough because, you know, my brother and I were the boss, and my parents who are older, you know, and my grandparents were you know, supposed to report to us, if you like, or do what we say.
Yeah, right.
That's very tough because at home, whatever they say goes, but at work, whatever we say goes. So it was kind of...
So do you have that discussion? Like, what do you call your grandpa?
I still call him Grandpa.
So you say...
I still call him Bapu and Yaya, so it's still...
I can't even say that, but I love it. I love it already. But, like, do you say, Grandpa, like, we're at work now and I need this and this done by then. How's that going to go? Is that going to go all right?
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't go down so well.
Right.
It's a tough thing. But... you know, that was the early days, and we did sort that out. And I mean, just as family, we had, you know, when things got tough or heated, we had family discussions and said, look, this is how it's got to work. You know, when we're at work, we're the boss. When we're at home, we're not. You know, we had a lot of those. It wasn't that simple, but we sorted it out, I guess. And then nowadays, it's obviously a lot different. We're you know, I don't know how we're 10 years down the track, you know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, I guess it's pretty clear now. Everyone's got a role, and you stick to it. I had a lot to do with the Smorgon family a few years ago, and for overseas listeners, that's a very big family business of many generations in Australia. And one of the things Victor Smorgon, who was the head of that family, would do is every single Friday, everyone would go into his office and sit around from all the different businesses, actually, not just one. And, you know, it was just an opportunity to have some sandwiches and just have open discussion. And it was sort of like a non-negotiable. You had to turn up.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like, because at the end of the day, it's all about communication, isn't it?
Well, me and my brother, I'd say we communicate really well. That's where it's key. I mean, we're owning the business, and we have it out, you know. And I think that's, you know, there's pros and cons with being in a family business. There's a lot more cons, I would say. Mm-hmm. But for us, you know, we hit it out, and there's no egos. We're both passionate about what we're doing. We're both doing it for the right reasons, and if we disagree, it's at least for the right reason.
And when you say you have it out, like what's that look like?
Oh, it's pretty ugly.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean,
but see, I love that.
It's I wouldn't say it's a screaming match, but it's a very heated argument. You know, it's a very heated argument.
But is it a professional argument?
You wouldn't find it in a boardroom, no. It's you know, it's like, oh, you're an idiot. Why are you saying that for? Or there might be a few more colourful words than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll just we'll let it rip. And how we see it.
And how long till then it dissipates and you're back to, you know, okay, well that was that. You always get a resolution to move on, or are there grudges held? Yeah,
no, never grudges, which is I guess the best part. Mm. But we have it out till we actually see the other side. You know, like he wouldn't be, you know, I see it that he wouldn't be arguing with me if he didn't have, you know, he didn't feel passionate for some reason. Yep. I need to understand where he's coming from. So I'll sit there and persevere with him, and he'll persevere with me till I understand where he's coming from. And then I may just flat out disagree once we've hit it out, as, you know, we've explained our point of view as far as we can. I mean, we actually laugh about it afterwards. Sometimes,
cool.
You know, we'll hit it out. We'll be fired up at each other. It'll be fully heated, and then one of us will say, "Oh yeah, you know, I see where you're coming from now. Good point. Yeah, let's do that." You know?
See, I just see that is right there is a massive upside to a family business that non-family businesses, if they could, how you could learn from that, because, you know, a sibling relationship is a sibling relationship, and you almost have permission to tell each other just, you know, how much of a dickhead each other are. You know, if we want
bullshit, you know?
Yeah. Whereas in non-family businesses, there is that kind of like, oh, how far can I go with this fellow employee or with my employees, and have those honest discussions, and then hope. Yeah, it's interesting. I can see the pros and cons pretty clearly.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, so it's going along pretty well. You're online and offline. Let's start talking about the business. Started off as an online business, obviously. Offline.
No. Yeah,
offline. Your mum patches, and then you've got 2 stores now, and you've got a huge online presence. How do you balance those two, and which is the more profitable?
It's a good question. It's a very hard one to answer. I'll do my best to try to keep it short. But I guess, so we've got the online, the offline. Like you said, the offline started first. When I was in high school, before we actually bought the business, I did the online and figured out a few things there. And I guess, my background's a business analyst, so problem solving was my forte. That's what I loved about the online. So I really picked up the online and did the online for them even before we bought the business. Mm-hmm. Then when my brother and I took over, it was quite an easy, I guess, division of responsibility. He took over operations, and I took over the online side. And I do online finance, marketing. I do all the stuff that's not operations, essentially, because, you know, he's got 40 people reporting to him now, where for me, you know, I'm about 8 or 10 or whatever it is at the moment. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we just split it up based on our strengths pretty much, and he focuses on that, and I do the online.
And having that retail outlet, those 2 retail outlets, I mean, I guess one of those is your warehouse with a shop front, is that right?
Yeah,
so you just may as well have it.
Yeah.
Why did you open up a second one, and why in the same state?
So actually the first one was the smaller of the 2, which is where we had our internet operation. We got to a point as we were growing, like for those first 5 years we ran the business. From an online point of view, we were firing. You know, business was triple-digit growth every year, and we're talking big numbers of growth. And the whole problem from an operational point of view was to actually satisfy demand. We never had a problem getting business. It was actually how do we fill it.
Can I just stop you there and ask, where was that growth? I mean, you got a couple of years there where things are going nuts.
Yeah.
What trigger did you pull for that to happen?
Oh, there was a lot of them. In the early days of online, we started in 1998 online, which was, right at the beginning, getting one order a month or whatever it was to, then doing hundreds a day. But in the early on, we pulled every time we pulled a trigger on something, it just took off. I mean, we had shipping that was, $40 to Perth and $20 to Melbourne and all this sort of stuff. We introduced $9.95 shipping, and it just orders took off overnight. We did stuff like that. Google AdWords.
So these are the times, back then, so you're operating off a low base. So anything you do, you're going to see multiples of return if you get it half right.
That's right.
Do you see those opportunities? We're going to talk marketing in a minute, but do you see those opportunities today still? I hear various people talk about, like, for example, Facebook ads right now. There's some cheap clicks to be gotten, whereas, on Google AdWords, maybe not so much. There's still some places, that people can kind of get those quick wins?
Oh, 100%. I wouldn't say they're as big. When people ask me about this now, I say, look, the growth now is incremental rather than, revolutionary change to the business when we introduce some whole new concept to marketing. It's usually we find a little niche that works really well and we exploit it, and that adds a few percent here and there. So they're definitely out there because online's changing, it keeps evolving. So every time something new comes along, you jump on board. And it's an area like Facebook is still not as competitive as say, Google. There's still opportunities there. Maybe not as many opportunities as there were on Facebook maybe 5 years ago as well. So
Yeah. Hey, Shark Tank. We'll get back to marketing in a minute. Shark Tank, though. You went on it. You're my third guest to have been on Shark Tank.
Who was the other two?
Well, you're going to ask that. One is the guy from the mobile tyre service.
Yeah, cool.
And I cannot think of the second one. I'll put a link in the show notes to whoever it was. But
cool.
Interesting experiences. What was your biggest lesson from appearing on the show?
Oh, biggest lesson. I can't think of it, how to put this, I guess, succinct way. But
politely or succinctly?
Well, succinctly, because I guess the thing I learned a lot about my business, to be honest. And it almost like it was a humbling experience for me to go, well, I know my business and I know it inside out and I know everything about it. And then when it's like you've got to go up there and pitch to investors and answer their questions without any information in front of you whatsoever, we were left to hang out there with nothing. You go, holy shit, I don't know the answers to all these questions. How do I not know them? It's my business, And
yes.
And we're not talking simple answers like sales and profit. They ask all those, and you can learn them pretty quickly. But it's things like, if I open another store, what's the return on that? And is that return good enough?
Yeah, right.
And you go, holy shit. And you give an answer off the cuff, and you say, well, that's a shit answer.
Yeah, right. So what you learned is that it was almost a great deadline for you to force yourself to actually learn a whole lot of stuff, answer a whole lot of questions about the business that you might not have previously considered or got around to.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And actually helped us form our strategy. We formed our strategies pretty much off the back of that. We said, okay, well, we were thinking we were going to do this and that, but, we looked at our numbers and said, well, this makes sense, so... And then that's what we went and pitched with, So it went from pitching them an online business to pitching them more stores. That's what we wanted the money for.
It was just looking at Scott Bocock was the other guy who had on. He had Hegs, the pegs with hooks.
Ah, yeah,
you nailed it. When you didn't take one of the Sharks' offers, which was a ridiculous offer anyway. You were both miles apart. What was the major thing that happened as a result of appearing on the show?
There was a lot of things that came out of the show. Definitely, like from an investor point of view, I've been approached by many. Obviously can't say who. Yeah. But many investors, I guess, approached me, or different. We'll say different types of people. It wasn't just necessarily investors. It was people that could put me in touch with money or that sort of thing. So yeah, so many people came up to me after. But there were so many things that came out of it. Suppliers that we'd previously negotiated with and turned away came back and accepted offers that we put on the table, and The profile, just increasing our profile and increasing our credibility with people was huge, and there were so many different things that came out of all sorts of areas of business that helped us.
Good on you, mate. Well, magic happens when you step outside of your comfort zone, and I would imagine going on Shark Tank is a classic example of that.
Yeah.
Hey, listeners, I am chatting with Dean Salakas of Australia's largest party supplies retailer, the Party People. Before we dive into Steve's 3 marketing success factors, here's a word from a couple of wonderful businesses that can lighten your marketing load. Support for this show comes from Net Registry, a one-stop shop for getting your online marketing sorted. Verity Ma, their Chief Marketing Officer, recently told me this story of a very happy mechanic.
So one of my favourite stories of customers that I heard was a salesperson was talking to a mechanic, and he was talking about what sort of email he would like to have and what kind of hosting, whether he wants cloud or cPanel hosting. And the mechanic just said, look, I don't care, build my website, here's my phone number, make my phone ring and send me the bill. And that was the last we heard of him. He didn't provide us content. He didn't provide us any details about his business. We had his contact details. We wrote all the content and we just got his phone ringing and sent him the bill.
Net Registry, where happy mechanics go to grow their business online. Visit netregistry.com.au or give them a buzz on 1300 638 734. And tell them Timbo sent you.
Get on Timbo's mailing list over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.
Support for this show comes from 99 Designs, where dozens of designers compete to deliver a fast, affordable design you'll love. Speaking of love, their big cheese, Patrick Llewellyn, recently compared 99 Designs to a dating site.
We really think of contests almost like the dating paradigm. You go to a nightclub, it's noisy, there's a lot of people to meet, you get to meet a lot of people, and if you're lucky, at the end of that process you might meet someone, right? And then you go on and have dates. And so a contest is kind of like that paradigm. You put up your proposal, lots of designers submit their ideas, and then you start to whittle down to a few of the ones that really resonate with you. And then ultimately you pick one of them, and once you've picked that one designer, the chances of you going on to work with that designer to get other things designed is actually very high.
99 Designs, where love is in the air. For a free $99 upgrade on your first design, visit 99designs.com/Timbo. Hey Dean, we're back. What's your view on marketing?
Oh, look, marketing for us is it's to be like, I think of my role in the business. It's all about marketing. The operations job's to make sure they're profitable, and I mean, I wear the finance hat as well, so I've got to check that out. Mm-hmm. But marketing it's all about marketing.
Cool. So you have a very deep respect for the craft.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think about my parents. They started the business, and asked myself the question: why was it successful? How did they do well in the in the 80s when it was a different world? And what made them stand out? It was definitely that they had a very good marketing strategy. I mean, they had the biggest range, good prices, all your your 4 Ps, your 7 Ps, depends where you come from. I actually studied marketing at uni, believe it or not.
Yeah, me too.
So, I mean, they really had it well. They really did a good job of it. And I think that's the difference between them and many other businesses.
Yeah, right. Okay. So now what I understand, you've got 3 critical marketing success factors that you are pretty strong on. And when you told me them, I thought, they're solid. They are, foundational. You get these right, and then I don't see why your marketing shouldn't fall into place. Can we kind of go into a bit of detail on each one of those? Yeah,
sure. Well, I guess, and further to that, I mean, people have asked me, what are the 3 things that make your business successful? And these are the 3 I give them, let alone, and they're all marketing, So
interesting.
I guess, number 1 being agile, and I think we touched on it a little earlier, is that when something new comes along online, we jump in on board straight away. We check it out. We learn about it, and then we refine it and try to make it work. I think nearly all advertising works or marketing works. It's just a matter of how it works and what it does. some people say, oh, does radio work or, TV work? It all works. You just got to find the right way to use it.
So true. Oh, man, advertising's a bit of a bugbear of mine, and I grew up in an advertising agency. It works, but geez, there's a lot of variables you got to get right.
Yeah.
So therefore, there is good reason to maybe look at what's the opportunity cost of that radio campaign versus, say, putting it into SEO or putting it into events or video or whatever. So, yeah, okay. That's really interesting. You're saying, like, when something new comes along, and boy, in 2015, something new is coming along a lot, often. There's never been a better time to market a small business. But with that comes massive anxiety with many small business owners, because they're like, well, here comes another bright, shiny object. Yeah, is it the silver bullet?
Well, I think and there's also a mentality out there, and this is there's definitely two very different mentalities. There's a lot of people I talk to in business, and they say, oh, bloody online. It's always changing, There's the negative attitude. It's always changing. I look at it the complete opposite. The fact that it's changing is our competitive advantage, because the big guys are all there. They're doing, they've got a bigger budget than I do, and they're competing in the same space. I mean, party, there's, you got your big W's and all that are competing with me, and yet we still manage to stay ahead of them. And I think we need change to do that. I mean, if things stay the same, they'll just smash me on their budgets, We beat them on being quicker and smarter. Early on.
Give us an example of being agile. So you say when something new comes along, we try it out. So the newest thing in my world that I'm looking at the moment is Blab. Don't know whether you've seen Blab. Sort of new social media that combines video and Twitter and social.
Yeah, cool. No, I've seen something similar that I'm actually working on a pilot on at the moment, so I won't talk too much about that.
Oh, come on. There's no one listening, mate. It's just you and I.
Oh, just me and you. But, I guess a good example, the easiest one that people can relate to is something, say, like eBay, You get on board with eBay early and now you've got thousands of seller ratings and positive reviews, and someone new who comes along has got to compete on price to even get seen. So, someone who got in early, it just has a huge, competitive advantage. Even things like AdWords, people say, oh, there's a mixed reviews now about it. Some people saying, oh, it's highly competitive. But I can tell you now, in the early days, it was highly. We were the first one of the first on AdWords in Australia, and I was highly profitable in the beginning. And even now, as Google introduced new, avenues, you've got product ads, site links, all these things have been coming along over the years. As we jumped on board with them early, massive gains to be had early on, and that was the trick. I mean,
being agile, do you fail quickly and move on, or do you fail quickly? And I'm not suggesting you fail every time, but if you do you walk away from it, or you go, oh, I think it was the headline or the message or the production values, and we'll tweak it and try again?
Yeah, usually it's more tweaking than cutting. Yeah, we usually tweak it.
So that's important. Yeah. So many walk away.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, don't. There's one variable that you need to do better.
Yeah, or you might need to just go online and look at blogs and see what other people are doing, or go to conventions and hear what people, ask other businesses questions on how they handle certain areas. And, you always, I learn a lot from just talking to people, I love meeting other business owners, and I learn so much just, especially when you have a problem like you just said, you ask someone else that question and they'll say, oh, why don't you do this, this and this? And you'll be like, shit, I never knew about that.
Yeah. We don't ask enough. Okay, being agile, number one, critical success factor. Number two?
Number two is having an uncapped marketing budget, and it sounds like a bit of a tossy concept, I guess.
But, it sounds like heaven, but how does one do that?
Well, so the first thing is you got to understand your financials and understanding what does it cost you to service a customer, Like, to give you an example, we could talk all day about all these topics, to be honest. I'm giving you the 5-minute job on all of them, but essentially with an uncapped marketing budget, the first step is find out what it costs you to service a customer and what your profit is excluding marketing, and then overlay the marketing on top. So to give you an example, let's say your average order is $100, just for easy numbers. You make $20 profit out of that, which you can spend on your marketing. Well, then you can spend $20 on marketing. So if it costs you $19 per customer to acquire, so your CPA in Google AdWords, or, everyone works a little different, whether it's affiliates or whatever. But if you know what your CPA can be, then you can just, you should throw everything you can at it.
CPA, cost per acquisition.
Yeah, cost per acquisition. So let's say you can get a cost per acquisition on AdWords for $19. Well, for every $19 you spend, you're getting 20 back. So you will throw as many $19. So we just take the budget off that campaign if we can get that. We take it off, spend as much as you can. So we'll set the budget at $1,000 a day or something crazy like that, so it never comes up. But we do that on all our advertising, whether it's affiliates or even how much we spend on other platforms.
Right.
Yeah,
that uncapped marketing budget, certainly from an online point of view, which is so accountable and trackable and measurable, is a relatively easy thing to do. Still requires a bit of courage. Harder to do offline?
Very hard to do offline. I think that's where it gets a bit more tough. You have your... and I'm an analyst by trade, so I'm a little biased towards online methods because you can track them, you can get much more information. I don't like the whole old marketing adage, 50% of your advertising works, you just don't know which 50%. I hate that saying, and that's why I love online. You don't have that. That doesn't apply. It's not true online.
You hate that saying, or you hate the fact because I think the saying's true.
Yeah, in the offline.
In the offline world, yeah.
But not in the online world. It doesn't actually. How much? Which 50% is working. Which 50% is not, and you can tweak that 50% to make it work. So for us, it's all more like 90% of your advertising is working and 10% is not. But tomorrow you'll tweak that 10% to make it work, and then 10% if it stops working the next day. So you just have to keep tweaking that 10% all the time. Yeah.
Before we talk about the third critical success factor, Dean, how often do you spend on marketing a week, and what's your support look like?
Yeah, good question. I've never been asked that question before. I think I probably spend a good 70 or 80% of my time on marketing-related activities.
Every listener's just fallen off their chair and gone, good, half your luck.
Yeah, the other 20 to 30% is dealing with finance and obviously working with the operation. So, not a large percentage, definitely.
Yeah, you're very lucky to be in that position. Obviously, there's a lot of business owners who are listening who just don't have the luxury of that 70%, allocating to marketing. I think the lesson to be learnt, though, is find some time every week. Don't make it a nice to have or I'll get around to it one day, because, you're a great example of, you see marketing as the oxygen or the lifeblood of your business. Yeah,
well, like you said, don't do it, if you're busy, you can't, I can't do it right now, I'm busy. Being agile is all about, you can't have that excuse, You've got to, something new comes along, you can't say, I've got 5 other projects on at the moment, I can't touch that. You have to get in and get some runs on the board, get it moving. We could talk about time management and things like that, but that's not what we're here for. But, you really got to find a way to manage your day and manage your...
Start block an hour out of your diary. Don't watch Shark Tank. Just don't. You can find it. If you really can find the respect for marketing and you're listening to this show, then you must have some respect for it. You've got to block it out. Critical factor number 3, Dean?
So number three is a bit more of a traditional, boring one, but it's just about saying have a good website, and make sure that, if you are driving people
Can I just ask why? I know why, but why?
Well, I guess, there's kind of 2 parts to the customer's journey. One is getting them, and that's the first 2. And the other one is, servicing them. So you've got to have that website there they got to be able to find what they're looking for.
Are you saying this as an e-commerce business owner, or are you saying this even if you were a plumber?
I would say this even if you're a plumber, and I'll tell you why. We opened our Des Moines store in 2000 and I think it was 11. And in the first year, we traded over $1 million. In year 1, and that's unheard of in the old days. No new business opens up and turns over $1 million, a bricks and mortar business, in its first year. And the way we said, look...
What's the margin on that?
Oh, it's pretty good.
Okay.
Because, we do pretty good margins. But, we put that down to having a really good online presence.
Really?
Yeah. How do people know we were there? We opened the door straight away, people started coming in.
Wow.
We were on Google Maps. We had all that sorted out. We had, we were advertising in the stores in Des Moines. We were advertising in Des Moines already anyway. and that was part of my Shark Tank pitch, actually, which they didn't show it on air, actually.
Advertising and didn't they? Yeah, well, I understand you do kind of. You might be. How long are you up there for? More than the 5 minutes that you're on the show. Couple of hours.
2 hours, something.
Yeah, amazing. What you say you're advertising in Drummoyne? What you mean, like in local newspapers, on mobile boards, or what do we do?
Online. So if someone even right now as we talk, someone could be in Perth, Googling party supplies and will come up, and yet we don't have a store for them to go to. So
yeah, right.
In Drummoyne, we were advertising in Drummoyne, and people would search, and we would use the location. Yeah, we've got a lot of locations in there, but so we could have party supplies Drummoyne in there, and
people aren't going party supplies Drummoyne. There might be like 5 people going party supplies Drummoyne. Like Drummoyne's almost irrelevant to the search, isn't it?
No, people still do it. Does it a lot, actually. Because,
what, is Drummoyne the party supplies capital of Australia? Or maybe it is because you're there.
But you might Google party supplies Balmain, which is next door, and Google's smart enough to show you the Drummoyne store, stuff like that. So, and you might be living in, let's say you live in Reid or somewhere. Not all the listeners will understand the suburbs if they're in different parts of the country, but let's say you're in a suburb just out of Drummoyne and you Google party supplies. Google finds the local business and says, here's a local business that sells party supplies. We had that all sorted out from day one, and hence, it kind of turned things on for us.
We've had Rand Fishkin on a few weeks ago, who's like the godfather of SEO in the world. So we have covered the whole idea of having a good website, and so we don't need to go into detail there. However, I am looking at Party People now, and I have got a couple of questions for you around yours, if I may.
Yeah.
And given that this is audio, I'll need to kind of explain it visually. You have a very large slider on the homepage of your website. It takes up a lot of virtual real estate. In fact, you could argue half the page. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, probably 3/4.
Three-quarters, right? So this is an important piece of real estate. It slides back and forth between what I love. You got a dad joke. You'll be wrapped with our huge Christmas range. Love your work there.
I came up with that.
Brilliant. And I get that. Like, that's topical. Christmas is coming up. But the second banner that slides across is Shark Tank.
Yeah.
And to me, that just seems a waste of virtual real estate for a couple of reasons. It's old news, and B, if I'm looking to buy some balloons, I don't really care that you've been on Shark Tank. Am I being harsh?
Yeah, maybe a little harsh, I think. I actually, I have to be honest and say I disagree with you that it's not important. The main reason I've got it there, not because I care about the fact they're on Shark Tank, is because one of the things is that people come to party store websites, and you can go to many of them, and they all claim to be the biggest, they all claim to be the best, they're all whatever. But as you see, actually there's a bit of a bug on the site there at the moment, so you can't see the banner that's further down. But it says we're famous, and it's got all the different things we've done for Celebrity Apprentice and Shark Tank.
Yeah,
and,
right.
Every TV show there is, pretty much Morning Show, Channel 10, 7, all those.
Yeah, okay. So you're credentialising yourself. It's a credentialising strategy.
Yeah, and a lot of people will see that and go, oh, yeah, I saw these guys on Shark Tank. And so straight away they, there's a trust factor there, and that's a big issue for online shopping is, how do I know these guys aren't just some family business, some small guy, they won't pack my order and I'm not going to get it. There's a trust factor for that.
Gotcha.
So, but I guess the other thing is you've looked at it at a bit of an awkward time because you've just come out of Halloween Melbourne Cup.
Come on. No excuses, big guy. You're spending 70% of your time on marketing. Hey?
But I'm just saying, if you went on 3 days ago, you would have seen 6 banners there.
Yeah, right. Okay. Let's keep talking about the things that I'm picking up. That, please, you know more than me when it comes to creating a great website for an online store. But you've got 2 retail stores. You've got street addresses. Why aren't they sitting at the top of the site to sort of overcome the fear of, gee, do these people really exist? Yeah,
it's a good question, actually, and I never really thought of whether we've got that right or not. On our mobile site, if you could check it out on your mobile, we place a big prominence on to visit our store and click the call.
Okay, all right, so that's a possibility. I'm going to invoice you for any ideas that you implement.
This is our marketing consulting, so I'll have to...
I'll invoice you in balloons. You can pay me in balloons.
But you can't suck on the gas.
Okay, a couple more things. You don't, and I like the fact, I can't even find your social media links. You want people on
down the bottom.
Yeah, right. Yeah, love it. Yeah, got them in the balloons. So part of that thinking is like, hey, they're on our site. Let's not send them off to Facebook where they'll be watching cats fall off ladders very quickly.
Yeah, well, cat's not so bad. Actually, we discovered the other day we had a cat playing with one of our products, and we put it up, and it went crazy.
Nice.
And I actually, I was very against my social media person doing anything with cats on our site, and then she put one up with our product, and I thought, oh, what's she doing here? And she went against my direction, and it went viral. So
I love it.
I said, more cats playing with products, please go for it. That's a funny story. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, with the homepage and all that, we found people just weren't using the social buttons, so we got them out of the way. They're taking up too much important real estate. But on the product pages, we make them much more prominent because, people might... We find we get a lot of traffic through Pinterest, for example.
Oh, I can imagine.
So we obviously make that pin button.
Now, I brought this up with Nathan Huppatz of costumes.com.au, who was on the show recently, and you are also not doing this, which is both your businesses are made to create interesting, engaging, actually entertaining content. Both your businesses, you have people coming to your stores and your sites wondering how to decorate their party, what to wear. They're looking for ideas, yet neither of you are creating what I would call helpful content. Where's that? Where are those videos that, hey, if you're having a bachelor and spinsters party, here's some things to buy. If you're having, you know what I mean? You with me?
Yeah, I'm with you. Actually, on the top right there, you'll see a one called Party Ideas, but don't click it because we just got hacked on the weekend, my blog's just been taken down temporarily to sort that out. But essentially, we've got a blog attached to our site, and we do provide some content like that. We probably do, I'd say, an article a day,
that's significant.
which is actually not enough because there's so many different themes.
Well, that's what I thought. I mean, blogging, everyone should be blogging. I only listened to an interview with Seth Godin yesterday, who it is top 3 things that we should all be doing as business owners. One of them was blogging. For a whole lot of reasons. We can have that discussion another time. But so you're blogging. But anyway, there's things that I see that, again, even someone who's doing 70% of their week on marketing the business, you're still not getting around to it. So
well, I actually have people that do that for me, the blogging. I have someone internally because we looked at it external, it was just too expensive. And it's very hard to get an ROI out of the blogging, You go, where's the ROI?
The search engine optimizations, the ROI...
Yeah, but it's hard. I'm an analyst. I want to know how much I'm spending versus how much I'm getting back, and it's very hard to quantify.
Surely, if you blog on a keyword, like what's a keyword? Give me an example.
Party supplies, or
how about kids' party supplies? Just to kind of niche it down a bit. Like you write an article on the top 10 kids' party ideas or themes. And, you optimise it with headlines and your metadata and all that type of stuff. That's going to rank well. And then you can kind of analyse that against what would that have cost. If you say you're ranking one organically for that keyword in Sydney, what would that have cost you to buy on AdWords? Isn't that kind of a way to...
It is, but it's like you could write that article and it just doesn't rank because... there's a million other people in that space.
Defeatist.
You know what I mean?
Defeatist then, hey?
I don't know about that because I'm still doing it, but yeah, definitely I'm finding it challenging, I would say. It's very challenging. I'm doing it, like I said, because
that's the problem. I wonder whether, as an analyst, you need... What's the... there's that personality test.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
I did do it.
Wealth dynamics. Or you think of Myers-Briggs, there's 2.
Myers-Briggs,
yeah. But anyway, there's with the Wealth Dynamics one talks about you've got the mechanic and then you've got the creative star. And, one's the kind of get under the hood, analyse type person, then you've got the creative star. And you're obviously a bit of a mechanic / star, whereas you need a creative person to maybe kind of take that load off you of creating things that...
Absolutely.
You like that blog post,
Absolutely,
anyway.
And that's the person I've got doing those blogs. It's just how much budget do I throw to that piece of work? She's only doing 1 a day. That's probably not enough. She probably needs to be doing 5 a day.
Yeah, gotcha.
And analysing what doing more thought on what are those articles and how are they going to rank and.
Yep.
But we got some other bigger challenges which we won't go into. With our website and.
I have loved talking to you, Dean. You have shared some marketing gold, which I knew you would because you've got a great little business going there. And it feels like pretty, you've been going for 30 years, 3 generations. It feels like there's some pretty good upside too. Can I finish by asking you, have you got a favourite quote?
Favourite quote? I do have a favourite quote. It's luck is where, I don't know if it applies that much to this, but it's luck is where preparation meets opportunity. That's my favourite quote. Have you heard that one before?
A version of it, yeah. A great analyst quote, mate.
It is, isn't it?
You can't have luck without preparation.
Yeah, that's it. Well, you have to be there, you know. You have to be in it to win it, or it's all similar to all those sorts of things, I guess.
And I will ask, favourite party song, mate, being the chief party dude.
Oh, I love Bust a Move. That's my favourite song, Young MC.
Well, we'll go out with that. Thanks for being on the Small Business Big Marketing Show, Dean.
Thanks, Tim. Have a good one.
Run over there without a second to lose, and what comes next? Hey, bust a move.
Oh, I love a bit of Young MC. Hey, bust a move. Is that an 80s song? I think it was. It feels like it. That's why it puts me in such a good mood. What's your party song? Tweet me at Timbo Reid. I digress. Did you enjoy that? That was Dean Salakas, Chief Party Dude at thepartypeople.com.au. Hit him up on Twitter, though. ThePartyPeople1, the number one. Tell him you heard him on the show. Tell him you love his work. Hey, my top 3 learnings from that fireside chat with Dean. Thanks to the good folks at netregistry.com.au/Timbo for all those wonderful exclusive listener packages for your online marketing, and 99designs.com/Timbo, because you will get a design you loved guaranteed within 7 days, and you'll get a free upgrade to your brief if you use that link. Got to love that. Now, my top 3 are not going to be a surprise to you. Number 1, be agile. Yeah, I'm just going to restate those 3 critical success factors. I like the idea of being agile, being willing to try new things. I know that sort of one hand causes a lot of stress and anxiety because, like, when does it stop, all these bright, shiny objects? But I do like the idea of being open to new opportunities in the marketing landscape. Number 2, learning. What about the uncapped marketing budget? Gotta love that. Imagine if you can find marketing things that work, that generate, for every $1 you spend, you get $2 back. You're going to keep doing more and more of that. So look out for those. And it obviously particularly relates to the online world. Number 3, learning. Optimize your website. We've spoken about it a lot. It's so important. It really is a critical success factor. If you don't know how to do it, I'll put a link back in the show notes for this episode to the interview I did with Rand Fishkin from Moz. It was episode 262, but I'll put a link, and you've got to go and listen to that. It's been one of my most popular episodes, I'd say. It might certainly top 10 of all time, and it's a ripper. So they're my 3. I'd love to know what you got from that chat with Dean Salakas. Head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, key in episode 280 into the search box on the right-hand side, and leave me a comment in the show notes, please. Thank you. Confucius once said, like a really, really long time ago, tell me and I will forget. Show me and I may remember. Involve me and I will understand. Righto, team, that almost brings us to the end of episode 280. Plenty of marketing gold, though, coming your way. Next episode, I have a chat with an accountant that's breaking all the rules, including installing a proper cafe with large coffee machine and beer taps inside his office. And next week, I chat with a lady who's created a serious, above-the-board retail business as a result of her oversized breasts. Yep, you heard it. Yep, no jokes there. Very interesting interview coming up. Hey, be sure to use NetRegistry. I can't believe I said that, but it's true. Be sure to use NetRegistry if you need a website or to get your website found. They've got exclusive listener packages over at netregistry.com.au/Timbo, including that $79 a month Do It For Me website package. And if you need something designed, anything designed really, book cover, brochure, logo, car wrap, then grab your free $99 design upgrade over at 99designs.com/Timbo. Hey, audio production for this show is done by the world's best audio guy, Daryl Misson. Thanks, Daz. And the music bed written and produced and sung by rock god Lockie Dolly. Thanks, Lockie. If you need a speaker for an upcoming event, I'm all yours. Head over to timreid.com.au And if you want to surround yourself with motivated business owners, head over to the forum, the Small Business Big Marketing Forum over at crankmymarketing.com. Until next time, I'm Timbo Reid. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.